What's happening? A happy Friday to all of you. Thanks for joining me. As always, it is much appreciated getting you ready for the Titans versus the Patriots this weekend. Let's start with the bigger questions. Who starts at quarterback? And I'm not just talking about the Patriots. I'm also talking about Tennessee. Who starts on Sunday at the most pivotal position in the sport? Will it be Jacoby Brissett or Drake Maye? Will it be Mason Rudolph or Will Levis? Now, Drake Maye, he is still limited. He was at practice today. He is still in the protocol. He did take first reps with the team at practice, which is a positive sign. But will Drake Maye actually get out there and play on Sunday? Not sure. Will Levis, he's practicing. His official designation for Sunday is questionable, so we're not sure if Will Levis is going to be out there on Sunday. That's the first big question. Second big question, did the Patriots find their blueprint last week defensively, which was less is more? Man coverage, more busy at the line of scrimmage, more busy in the front seven. Did the Patriots get back to basics last week? For the most part, yes. Will they stick with those basics this weekend against Tennessee? We'll wait and see. How about number three? Third big question. Will the Patriots be focused on the road? Let's not forget what happened last time they were on the road. That London trip. A bunch of things happened. Let's hope that the guys stay away from Broadway, and let's hope that they treat this as a business trip and show more professionalism this weekend than they reportedly did back in London. So those are the three big questions. Who starts at quarterback? Did the Patriots find their blueprint defensively against the Jets by less is more, going more simple? And will the Patriots be able to treat this as a business trip? Let's jump into the Patriots offense versus the Tennessee defense. L'Jarius Sneed is going to be out of this game. So Sneed is out. That was announced earlier today by the Titans. So their best cornerback will not play on Sunday. But this Titans defense is legit. I know we look at the record. I know we look at some of the bad turnovers, and we look at Will Levis, and we talk about this football team in Tennessee not being good. But this defense is good. And you could argue this defense is very good. They are ninth. They are ninth overall defensively in DVOA. This is a top 10 defense. The Patriots last year were ninth in DVOA. And we waxed poetic about their defense last year. So this is a top 10 defense. A lot of people will look at that game last weekend against the Detroit Lions, and they'll see the 52 points. A lot of context to that 52 points that was put on this Tennessee defense. Number one, you had 5 drives. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 drives started at the Tennessee 26 or inside the Tennessee 26-yard line. Turnovers, terrible special teams. So that defense, they were constantly in their own territory inside the 25-yard line. So 5 of those drives. Jacoby Brissett, Drake Maye. Whoever plays at quarterback for the Patriots on Sunday, they're going to face a pretty tough challenge in this Tennessee defense because this Tennessee defense likes to, as they say, spin the dial. Spin the dial means they like to fool you. They like to play games up front. A lot of trickery. You've got to know pre-snap what the defense looks like and what the defense looks like post-snap because they will evolve. They will change. They will try to fool you. That's what this Titans defense does. So whether it's Jacoby Brissett or Drake Maye, they have to get ready for the pre to post-snap looks and how much will change. The Titans defense, they really like to deploy simulated pressure and creepers. Now, remember back when the Patriots were about to play Cincinnati in week 1, and we talked about simulated pressure. We talked about Lou Anarumo and how he likes to try to fool quarterbacks. We also talked about the same kinds of things for week 2's game against Seattle. Mike McDonald and how he likes to try to fool quarterbacks with simulated pressure, some creepers. Evan Lazar wrote this about Tennessee's simulated pressure. The Titans major in simulated pressures, 3.2%, which is the highest in the NFL. Simulated pressures are when the defense shows all-out pressure to stress the protection, but drops defenders out to form a standard 4-man rush. So when you're looking at it, if you're Brissett or Maye, You see what you think is all-out pressure. You think they're going to send the house. But what ends up happening is only 4 of those guys actually come after you. Everybody else drops into coverage. That's simulated pressure. That's what Tennessee likes to do. They also like to run creeper schemes. Again, let's go to Evan Lazar. The Titans run a lot of creeper schemes, 6.5%, which is the 4th highest in the NFL. Creepers are when the defense blitzes standard coverage players while typical pass rushers drop into coverage. So again, it's this idea when you're looking at the defense as a quarterback, you think certain guys are going to blitz, but what ends up happening is pass rushers drop into coverage. We see the Patriots do this every once in a while. But so the creepers and the simulated pressure is all to try to screw with the brain of the quarterback. Now, of course, Brissett, he has seen more of this because he's an 8-year veteran. Meanwhile, you've got Drake Maye, who hasn't seen a ton of that because he's a rookie. So this would be a huge challenge for Drake Maye if he plays on Sunday because he will be playing against a defense that will test him mentally, his ability to diagnose what is in front of him before the snap, after the snap. This would be a huge challenge for Maye, which is part of the reason why I really hope he plays, because I want him to face these kinds of challenges. Jacoby, he has seen it before. The offensive line will be challenged because they have to be ready. Who's being sent? Who's not being sent? How many times will Tennessee actually blitz? All the games up front, communication is going to be gigantic in this game, right? Understanding what that defense is trying to do to you. So the offensive line will have a big-time challenge in front of them. Tennessee, they not only like to run simulated pressure and creeper schemes, they also like to go cover zero. They're 4th in the NFL when it comes to cover zero, which means we're going to send the house. So you start to put all of these different pieces together, and you can see how this Tennessee defense is very difficult to deal with. Simulated pressure trying to fool you, creeper schemes trying to fool you. Then they'll send the entire house at you at the fourth highest level in the league. Not only that, on the interior of their defensive line, they've got 2 gigantic dudes. Jeffrey Simmons is one of the best interior defensive linemen in football. And then you have T'Vondre Sweat, who they just drafted. I watched the Tennessee-Miami game. Sweat dominated that football game. He was in the backfield constantly. So you've got to deal with those 2 big guys in the middle of that defensive line. It's a lot. It's a lot for this Patriots offense. Can you figure out the simulated pressure? Can you figure out the creeper schemes? Can you deal with Simmons and Sweat in the middle? Ben Brown, the center, right? He's done a pretty good job, but this is going to be a massive challenge. Michael Wenu, can he deal with Simmons? Can he deal with Sweat, especially Simmons, rushing the quarterback? How about Michael Jordan on the left side? So the interior of the offensive line is going to have a big job in front of itself on Sunday, and then the tackles have to deal with all of this simulated pressure, creeper schemes, and cover zero blitzes. We could see the kitchen sink on Sunday. As far as edge rushers, they've got Landry and Key, both guys who do a pretty good job at pressuring the quarterback. So this Titans defense is legitimate. You can look at the record. You can look at the offense. You can certainly have questions about the quarterback position, which we'll get into. But defensively, this Tennessee team can be a major headache. If their offense doesn't turn the football over a bunch and you're dealing with a lot of long field drives, it's going to be very difficult to move the ball consistently against this specific defense because of scheme and because of talent. Again, the Patriots, they get a break because Snead won't play. That's a big break. But this defense is still very, very difficult. All right, I've got more on the Patriots offense versus this Titans defense. Let's first jump to a super chat on this Friday. $10 super chat. Nick, when will we know if Drake will play? Well, first of all, we got to keep an eye on Twitter today because the injury report will be coming out. It should be coming out relatively soon. If Drake Maye was a full participant, then you feel great about it. But we might have to wait until tomorrow to find out. When Brock Purdy, we used the Brock Purdy example earlier in the week. He got concussed on Monday. It was a Monday night game. And then he was back at practice that week. He ended up playing on that Sunday, right? So 6 days after getting a concussion, he played. Doesn't happen all the time. It does happen sometimes. And Brock Purdy, he was officially cleared to play on that game on that Sunday on Saturday. So we could find out tomorrow. But certainly, if you see that Drake Maye was a full participant, you feel really good about his chances of playing, right? But we will get official word if it's not later today. We could get official word tomorrow. The Patriots could technically drag it until Sunday. So we'll see what happens over the next 24 to 48 hours. He was limited today. He was in the protocol today, but it certainly looks like he was leading the team. He was first in reps. Nothing really stood out to anybody that was out there during practice during the, 15-minute window or so that they have. So there's no thought process that he has taken a step back. He's at least in phase 4. Can he get through all the 5 phases? We'll see. Concussions are difficult. Every single one of them is different, and every single person that's impacted by concussions are different. But we can certainly start to look towards the next 24 to 48 hours to get a pretty clear idea on whether or not Drake will be out there on Sunday. Backyard Cyclist jumps in with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Backyard. I caught you live, which is rare. What are your thoughts on bringing back Myers from the Raiders? I'm torn. It's a catch-22 personally. Still in contemplation mode. I want another adult in the receiver room. So, Backyard, we talked about this. I think it was on Wednesday's podcast about the idea of the Patriots buying. And one of the guys that Mark Daniels brought up at Mass Live was Jakobi Meyers. I wouldn't mind bringing Jakobi Meyers back into the wide receiver room. I don't think it's going to cost you much. Of course, if you're the Patriots, you would much rather see Jalen Polk take a step, actually catch the football starting this weekend, and prove himself to be the Jakobi Meyers with more pop that we talked about before the draft. But that's not a given. So, yes, I would be absolutely open to the idea of dealing for Jakobi Meyers. It shouldn't cost you a lot. Deontay Johnson went for a 5th-round pick. A 5th-round pick out, Johnson, and a 6th-round pick back in. So wide receivers, they're not costing a whole hell of a lot. I think Jakobi Meyers, if the Raiders were going to make him available, which I don't think they will, but if Vegas was willing to make Meyers available, you could probably get Meyers for a 5th or 6th-round pick. So I would be in on that. He'd help the wide receiver room on the field and off the field. But I don't think the Raiders are going to be looking to deal him. Appreciate the super chat, Backyard. Thank you for the 20. All right, before I jump back into the Patriots offense versus the Titans defense, you can help out this podcast. You know what I'm going to say if you have watched us enough. Don't forget to do a couple of things. You can press that thumbs up button on the YouTube channel as you watch. Every single like helps us build this community because it's engagement, so don't forget to like. Don't forget to throw your comments in either. Who do you think is going to win this game on Sunday? Do you go with the Titans? Do you go with the Patriots? So don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment. And we are now just about 200 subscribers away from hitting 5,000 subscribers on this channel. So don't forget to subscribe, click that notify bell, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers about this podcast. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Pods, not only can you rate and review, you can also head on over to YouTube, like this video, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Even if you listen all the time to Spotify, Apple Pods, you can take a few seconds out of your day and do those couple of things for us here at YouTube to continue to build this out and continue to provide Patriots fans with an alternative. All right, back to the Patriots offense versus the Titans defense. The run game for the Patriots obviously is needed. Last weekend was rough. I thought Ramondre was really good, but the running back production has not been there for a few weeks now. The offensive line is struggling in its run blocking. Some of that is continuity. Some of that is just losing battles. Offensive line has to be better on Sunday when it comes to blocking it up for Mondre and Gibson and maybe Hasty if he gets a shot. But you need some of this run game. And it's going to be difficult because you have Jeffrey Simmons and you've got, Sweat, the two guys I talked about just a little while ago. They're very difficult against the run. Simmons is incredibly difficult against the run, has a bunch of run stuffs on his resume this year. But that interior offensive line has to make sure they make some room. I would be surprised if the Patriots ran up the middle a ton because of Simmons and because of Sweat. I would just kind of expect them to run to the perimeter. And, you can see on film this Tennessee defense, they're not as good on the perimeter. They're not as good on the edges against the run as they are interior. And we saw last week the Patriots against the Jets, they ran a number of toss plays to the perimeter against that Jets defense. I would expect a lot of the same Sunday against Tennessee. Attack the perimeter, get Ramondre out there with tosses and pitches and all that stuff. I would love to see, I've still been waiting for this, but I would love to see a Pop Douglas jet sweep on Sunday. Can you please give me just one Pop Douglas jet sweep? Because I think that's how you're going to attack this Tennessee run defense. You're going to attack the edges. You don't want to run a lot right towards Sweat and Simmons. Now, what can the Patriots do with their pass game? How can they attack the simulated pressure? How can they attack the creeper schemes? How can they attack the cover zero? Well, the first thing the Patriots can do, and I think Alex Van Pelt will show this on Sunday, is you run empty sets. You go shotgun formation, empty backfield, and you spread the defense out. You force the defense to declare who they're going to cover and with who they're going to cover who. Make Tennessee declare their look. So you go nobody in the backfield, shotgun formation, and spread them out. That's one thing you can do. Another thing that you can do is use motion, pre-snap motion, motion at the snap. That will confuse the amoeba defense. If the defense is trying to trick you, you can use motion to try to get back at that defense. So those are two things that Alex Van Pelt can do on Sunday that should help their offense out. Empty backfield, spread them out, shotgun formation, and also pre-snap motion and motion at the snap. Run game, attack the edges. Some important numbers for you to remember as you get ready for Sunday. This Tennessee defense is 8th in pressure rate in the NFL, so they have a top 10 pass rush. They are 1st in run stuff percentage. Again, Sweat and Simmons, very difficult to deal with. Tennessee has the 4th best defense on third down. So it's like a broken record. But I got to tell you again before we move on to the Patriots defense versus the Tennessee offense. This Tennessee defense is not a joke. They get pressure on the quarterback. They stop the run up the middle. They are very good on third down. Now, one of the things that Tennessee's defense doesn't do so great is if you can get inside the 20-yard line, you got a pretty good chance of scoring. You got a pretty good chance of putting up 6 because Tennessee's red zone defense is 24th in football. So that's one chink in the armor, right? You could look at the red zone defense and you could say, if we can find a way, if we could just find a way to move the ball between the 20s and then we get to that red zone, we have a decent chance of finding pay dirt. So that's one of the numbers that you look at. And, of course, some of that was last week when you give up 52 points and Detroit starts 5 of their drives inside your 26-yard line. That's a big problem. But you might have a chance of putting up 6 instead of 3 if you can find your way to the red zone. Early down success is going to be huge because you don't want to be looking at 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6 against this Tennessee defense because they're so good on third down. So a big challenge for the Patriots offense. All right, let's jump to the Patriots defense versus the Titans offense. Will Levis, he has been practicing this week. So it'll be interesting. By the way, I'll just throw this in here. Teron Davenport from ESPN reporting from the Titans practice that Snead, not at practice. That's not a surprise because, of course, Snead has already been labeled out of this game. Also missing from practice, and this is the open portion, so we don't know if this is Tennessee playing games, but also missing during the open portion of the Tennessee practice today, according to Davenport from ESPN, T'Vondre Sweat, the big guy I was just talking about, was not at practice during the open portion. Tony Pollard, Tyler Boyd, Tyjae Spears, Dylan Radins, Amani Hooker. So there's a number of important players on this Tennessee roster that were not at practice during the open portion of said practice. Doesn't mean they're not going to play. Doesn't mean they didn't practice. We'll have to wait for the injury report to come out later today, but we absolutely want to keep an eye on that, because if you've got a whole bunch of important players that are not going to play, that will impact this game on Sunday. Will Levis was at practice. He has been throwing. He is questionable for Sunday. Now, the offense for Tennessee is run by Brian Callahan. He was one of the younger head coaches, the offensive mind that was brought in. He's from Cincinnati, so a lot of what Tennessee does looks like Cincinnati. Evan Lazar wrote about it this week at Patriots.com. Tennessee is 24th in the NFL in motion, so they don't show a lot of motion to the defense, whether that's pre-snap or at the snap. And offensively, they've struggled all year long. Tennessee's offense is 30th in DVOA. So they have the third worst offense in football, according to DVOA. And they have the 29th offense when it comes to passing. So 29th passing offense in football, 30th overall offense in football. They have not gotten it going. And there were, a lot of Titans fans that I think believed that Brian Callahan was going to take over. You had Will Levis, Tony Pollard, Spears in the backfield. You had DeAndre Hopkins, and then you signed Calvin Ridley. There was a lot of excitement. They got they've got a talented offensive line, a lot of names on that offensive line. So the expectations were pretty high. People thought that Callahan was going to walk in and this offense was going to be clicking. It was going to be hitting. It hasn't been clicking. It hasn't been hitting. Quarterback play has been downright bad. Whether it's Levis or it's Rudolph, quarterback play for Tennessee has been atrocious. They're at the bottom of the league for EPA, expected points added. They're bottom 3 in yards per attempt, so they're not coming down with many big plays. They are also pretty high up in turnover-worthy play percentage. So the quarterback's position has been really the biggest issue for the Tennessee Titans. It started with Levis. Rudolph hasn't been much better. And it's been a problem. It's been bad. If I'm the Patriots, I'm playing a lot of man coverage. I think you should do what you did last weekend against the Jets. Play more man coverage. I want Christian Gonzalez on Calvin Ridley. Hey, Christian, you pretty much shut down Devontae Adams last week. This week, now you get to shut down Calvin Ridley. Let's see if you can do it. Because if you can shut down Calvin Ridley, if he's playing, again, he wasn't at the open portion of practice today, but if you could shut down Calvin Ridley or even limit Ridley, this passing offense gets even worse. Yes, they have Tyler Boyd, but he's a possession receiver. He's not going to make huge plays downfield. So if Christian Gonzalez is man coverage against Ridley in this game, for the most part, if Gonzalez can do what he's done most of this year and limit, if not shut down Ridley, then Tennessee's going to have major problems in the passing game because they don't have a lot of answers. They just traded DeAndre Hopkins a couple of weeks ago to Kansas City. So I want to see man coverage. I wonder if Kyle Duggar will play. He's been at practice. He was a late scratch last week. If Kyle Duggar can play, then you can put Jonathan Jones back at cornerback too. And you can have Christian Gonzalez and Jonathan Jones as your outside corners and man coverage. If you need to help one of those guys, you can roll over some coverage to help them if you'd like. But I really like the idea of playing man and, again, being aggressive up front, putting 5 guys at the line of scrimmage, 6 guys at times at the line of scrimmage, keeping a safety in the box. I like that approach for this Patriots D. I think they're better off that way. They were better off that way last weekend. So I'd love to see some man coverage, Gonzo versus Ridley, Jones back at the outside cornerback slot opposite of Gonzalez, more guys at the line of scrimmage, more aggressive in the front 7, more aggressive with your safeties coming downhill. Tennessee is 32nd. They're last in the NFL in yards after the catch. So they have not created big plays. They catch the football, they get down. So, and again, their yards per attempt is not very high. It's in the bottom 3 of the league. So this offense is not generating big plays consistently. I have some more thoughts on the Patriots defense. that I've got to get to against this Tennessee offense. But first, let's slide in a couple of super chats. Anonymous with a $5 super chat, support for Nick. Thank you, Anonymous. It is very much appreciated. Thank you for the 5. Kyle Kirk jumps in with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Kyle. Offensive line has progressed in pass pro, but seems behind in run blocking as of late. Do you feel that is an AVP problem, or is it an overemphasis of pass protection? Really happy with Scott Peters. Lowe and Brown could be big for the 2025 offensive line. If you heard me earlier in the week, if you follow me on Twitter at Nick C Radio, right here, Nick C Radio, I've talked about the offensive line. I've talked about Vidarian Lowe. Phil Perry had more numbers on Lowe earlier today, and what he has done the last 100 snaps. Vidarian Lowe has been good. Ben Brown's been good, especially being thrown into the mix. He's been good. Owenu had his best game of the year last week. Hopefully he can follow that up with a good to great game on Sunday against Tennessee. So you're starting to see this offensive line play better. As far as the run blocking, I think there's a few things here. Number one, they've got to pick a system and stick with that. And that's part of the Alex Van Pelt equation, right? Are you going to run zone, or are you going to run duo and downhill? This offensive line is more suited to run duo downhill. So will they do that? Again, we saw more tosses last weekend. So, maybe we start to see a little bit more of that. So there's been a little bit of a scheme issue, if it fits the talent up front or not. So that's been part of the problem. The other part of the problem is lack of continuity. You're playing Michael Owenu at right tackle for a number of weeks. He's better at guard. So it's a little bit tougher for him to get out there in those run blocking schemes. So some of it has been lack of continuity and relying on, backup offensive linemen. So that's been a part of the problem. But I do think we'll see how it comes together over the next couple of weeks. If they can stay healthy, if they can keep that continuity, and AVP figures some things out. I also think that Drake Maye helps. Drake Maye helps the run game too. So if he's out there, he helps, because it's really difficult to play, man coverage against somebody like Drake Maye because of his ability to run with the football. But I do think there's a number of different issues that are at play. There's some scheme. There's some, lack of talent blocking as far as run blocking. There is some continuity stuff as well. So you throw all of that in a bag, and that's how you get some of this lack of run game production. Hopefully it gets better. I appreciate the 20, Kyle Kirk, with that super chat. All right, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe. 3 things you can do that does not cost you a dime, but helps this program out tremendously. Like, comment, subscribe. Back to the Patriots defense against the Titans offense. The Patriots could get some pass rush on Sunday. Of course, they haven't been able to get much pass rush on their own accord consistently this year. But if you're going to be able to get some pass rush, it could be against this Tennessee offense. Tennessee is 31st in pressure rate given up. They're 30th in pass block win rate. So that's just straight pass block win rate. ESPN, we're talking mano a mano, offensive lineman versus defensive lineman / pass rusher. This Tennessee offensive line is 30th in the league in pass block win rate, which is surprising because the offensive coach is Bill Callahan, Brian Callahan's father. Bill Callahan is regarded as one of the best, if not the best, offensive line coaches the NFL has had in the past 20 to 25 years. But this offensive line has struggled against, pass rushers. 31st in pressure rate, 30th in pass block win rate, and they're not getting blitzed a lot. Teams are not blitzing Tennessee. Tennessee has faced the 9th lowest amount of blitzes in football, the 9th lowest blitz rate. So the offensive line is giving up pressure. The offensive linemen are losing one-on-ones. Defenses are not blitzing them a lot, but they're still getting to the quarterback. Some of that, of course, is on the quarterback. We've seen that with Jacoby Brissett here in New England. Will Levis will be responsible for some of those pressures and sacks. But I go back to that pass block win rate, 30th in the league. So the Patriots, Keion White, can he get going a little bit? Can they produce some kind of pass rush on Sunday? I wouldn't bank on it because they haven't been great doing that, but they will have some opportunities against Tennessee. I want to see the front seven against the run. Tennessee runs outside zone and bootleg, which is what the Patriots run at times, right? The outside zone, inside zone schemes with the bootleg action with the quarterback. Tennessee runs a lot of that. So this front seven, this Patriots defense should be very familiar with what Tennessee is trying to do when they run the football. Tony Pollard, if he plays, he brings a lot of versatility. He's somebody that can, catch the football. He can run outside. He can run inside. He is explosive. So you want to keep an eye on Tony Pollard if he plays. But the Tennessee run game, the Patriots should have some opportunities to slow this run game down. They're 31st in yards per carry before contact. We talked about the pass block win rate for the offensive line. The run block win rate is 22nd. So the offensive line has not done a great job blocking the run either. The one thing Tennessee is dangerous at, yards after contact. They're second in rushing yards after contact. So the fundamentals, tackling guys, going to be pretty vital on Sunday. Watch out for Tony Pollard when it comes to catching the football. He has 21 catches, and he runs all sorts of different routes. He can be outside. He can be inside. He's caught a go route this year. He's caught slants. He's caught hitches. Tony Pollard could be put all over the place in the passing game. The Patriots have to make sure to be disciplined against Pollard because that's how you give up a big play. The Titans offense is 31st on third down, so they stink on third down. That's because they haven't been able to run the football consistently enough. So if you can put them in a lot of 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, you're going to shut this offense down. And they don't get chunk plays very often. As I mentioned earlier, overall, the Titans are 30th in football in yards per play. So they're not ripping off chunks. You got to be able to be disciplined and take care of 1st and 2nd down, put this offense into a 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and you can shut them down. All right, I have my prediction coming up. In just a minute. But first, want to slide in another super chat. This is Terry, a $50 super chat. Thank you, Terry, for a $50 super chat. Again, just the most generous person that supports this program by far is Terry. She's been a big supporter. Patreon channel, Patreon page that I do, patreon.com/Nick Cattles, $5 a month. She throws a bunch of super chats at us throughout our coverage here. So Terry, thank you for the 50. Means the world to me. I can't say enough. Thumbs up emoji, football, beer emoji, and she's waiting for my prediction. Yes, I'm waiting to go to a brewery later, trying to figure out which one we're going to, Kelly and I. So thank you, Terry. I appreciate you. And those Spotify, Apple Pods friends, I appreciate you too as well. Don't forget to rate and review. All right, let's get to the prediction. So Tennessee is favored by 3.5. So -3.5 at home. The over-under is 38.5. The Patriots 100% have a chance to win this football game. Even with Jacoby Brissett, I think they have a chance to win. It does make it more difficult to predict this game, not knowing who's going to play quarterback. Drake Maye, his ability to bring explosive plays to this offense is truly a game changer. And when you're looking at a game like this, 1 or 2 big plays can be the difference. If you've got Brissett versus Mason Rudolph or Brissett versus Levis, and Levis will test downfield more than Rudolph does. But if you have Brissett versus one of those Tennessee quarterbacks, I don't think it's going to be as explosive, right? So it does change the math somewhat. But I still think the Patriots have a chance to win, even if Drake Maye does not get through the protocol completely and has to sit on Sunday. Couple things I would say from 30,000 feet about this game. I do not expect lots of offense. Even if Drake Maye plays, I do not expect tons of offense. This Titans defense is difficult. If Maye is out there, again, they're going to play games at the line of scrimmage. They're going to keep screwing around. They're going to throw some zero blitzes at Drake. So I think the Patriots are not going to have an easy time of it moving the football. But I also think Tennessee, because of their quarterback play, and the Patriots hopefully sticking with the basics, going man coverage, Gonzalez versus Ridley, I think the Patriots can really limit the Titans' offense. So I do not expect a lot of offense in this game. Now, of course, that means it'll be 35-31. It comes down to the little things for me when I look at a game like this. The little things. Tennessee has the worst special teams in all of football. The Patriots, they haven't been great in special teams the last few weeks, but the Titans have the worst special teams unit in DVOA. They are brutal. They are really brutal. So one or two big special teams plays, whether it's a big return from Marcus Jones like we saw last week, which was a difference maker against the Jets, whether it's Tennessee, missing field goals or fumbling the football on a return. Special teams in a game like this means a lot. If Tennessee's special teams continue to suck, that could open up a couple of opportunities for the Patriots to score some easy points. It's precisely what happened with Detroit last weekend. The big thing, here's the biggest number to me as we get ready for Sunday, and that is turnover differential. The Tennessee Titans are last in the NFL in turnover differential. They are a minus 13. That is crazy. They're a minus 13. I mean, they've played 7 games, right? They're like 1-6. You could say they're a minus 2 in the turnover category every week. This football team turns the ball over. Will Levis has some head-scratching, what the hell was that kind of turnovers. Just brutal turnovers. And so if Drake Maye plays, I feel like Drake could turn the ball over once or twice. Actually feel better about Jacoby not turning the ball over. Meanwhile, Tennessee, minus 13 in turnover differential. They give the football up. They had 4 turnovers last weekend against Detroit. So in a game like this, if each offense is not necessarily exploding and moving the ball well, special teams and turnovers, those two things that aren't super sexy, that people overlook a lot, those two things could make a huge difference in a game like this. And the Patriots are better in special teams, and they are better taking care of the football. Now, again, of course, watch Sunday happen. And I've told you I don't expect a lot of offense. Watch it be 35-31. I said don't expect tons of explosive plays. Watch there be 5 or 6 explosive plays. I talk about the Patriots' special teams being better than Tennessee's, and they take better care of the football. Now watch the Patriots turn the ball over 3 times, and Tennessee doesn't turn it over once. But that's why sports are sports. So looking at this game, special teams and turnovers. And because of those two things, I picked the Patriots to win on Sunday. 16-13. I think Tennessee will have a bad turnover or 2. And I think their special teams play will open up an opportunity for the Patriots as well. So I'm going 16-13, low-scoring game. Patriots win. Tennessee doesn't take care of the football. Let's jump to a $10 super chat from Vitalix. Vitalix, thanks for the 10. I'm just glad we haven't seen the UNC Drake jumping over defenders yet. Yeah, that hasn't happened just yet. And I thought, honestly, watching some of this coverage this week on Drake, I think a lot of people are overanalyzing that play, that he got the concussion. If you look at his prior runs, for the most part, he's getting down early. He's sliding. He's getting out of bounds. He's actually done a really good job. He took that one huge hit against the Jets when he went into that game late in the fourth quarter. But Drake's actually done a really good job that I've seen so far, for the most part, of protecting himself. And we saw that on Sunday. But he's kind of off balance, and he's stumbling forward, and he tries to get down. So he gets down about, a half a second late. And the guy comes over, Sherwood comes over from the blind side. And it's, to me, that play on Sunday where Drake got concussed was just an unlucky, unfortunate play. I don't really put that on Drake. I think Drake's done a good job of protecting himself. And I see a lot of people like, oh, man, he shouldn't run anymore. I think we're overanalyzing that one moment. If you look at all of the runs that he has had when he's scrambling, if you go back and you look at a lot of the runs, he's getting down, he's sliding, he's protecting himself. So I think he's done a better job of that. And hopefully that continues to happen as the season goes on. Vitalix, thanks for the 10. All right, everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy your football. Should be a lot of fun on Sunday. See if the Patriots can go back-to-back with the W's. I've got them winning 16-13, but this is a tough game. Don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Tennessee's defense is legit. The small things can be the difference. I think the Patriots will win a tight, competitive game. All right, I'll talk to you on Monday, 3 o'clock Eastern, right here on YouTube. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Spotify, Apple Pods, people, rate and review, and also make your way over to the YouTube channel to give us that like, throw a comment in, and of course, don't forget to subscribe. Have a great weekend. Nick Cattle Show.